Good evening. Welcome to the August 11, 2015 meeting of the Manchester Town Council. Open with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, very good. First order of business is approval of the July 14th minutes. Kelly sent those out earlier, and also the printed packet here. Everybody had a copy, a chance to read through. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, there's a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Make a motion to approve the July 2015 minutes.
I'll second the motion.
In stereo. Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So we have, again, this month, 2 treasurer items. Right hand is separately. Let's go to the June 2015 treasury report, which is now complete. So the copy of that treasury report, there's a motion to receive the treasurer's report as submitted.
I'll make a motion that we receive the treasurer's report.
I'll second it.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And then for July, we now have the check register. So we have a motion to receive the check register for July.
I make a motion we receive the check register for July.
I'll second the motion.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, mayor's report. There's a couple items. One, as you may have seen, looks like the stuff's now cleaned up. We are in the middle of our next audit. So we have our audit firm in here. I did meet with them this past week. I think that from everything we can gather, hopefully we get another clean report, which has been something we've had over the last number of years, going strong. We probably will have, again, the same type of, when they come in and report on it, the same type of segregation of duties issues due to really the size of our office and the number of folks we have working here. Most of those are mitigated to the auditor's satisfaction, or all of them are, just so you guys know that that's ongoing. And then primarily, obviously, the big event in town over the past month was the National Night Out. So I'd like to personally commend the fire department, the police department, the town staff here, the community at large. A lot of volunteers and people come together to really make another one of the great events in town. That's really only our second time, I guess, of doing that and cooperating.
Yes.
And the feedback that I've received, and I'm sure each one of you from the community has been positive. And then I know talking to Chief and to Steve, the people that go around and see a lot of these things, I think Manchester probably has the top National Night Out in the area in terms of level of participation and people attending. So kudos to everybody involved in that. And we definitely want to recognize some vendors and donators. So again, the list is really extensive, but in particular, Manchester Volunteer Fire Department, Queens, Bill Black, Kirkridge Church, the National Guard, Nature Center, Trinity Church, Emmanuel Church, the Town Office, Dutch Corner, Ladies Auxiliary, Guy Gary, Manchester Police Department, the Police Auxiliary Department, and the Volunteer Fire Department for making donations. So I think everything essentially is free up there, all the food. And,
Yes.
and then those donating other items to be raffled off: Eckert's Funeral Home, Sue Miller of Long and Foster donated a girl's bike, BJ's for gift cards, Target donated a boy's bike, the Lions Club for passes, Miller's Food Market for food, and Carol Drugs in Manchester for toys and things to raffle off to the kids. So great event. I know the rock wall was a big hit. Do we have the pictures of the chief climbing up on the website?
We do. We do.
We don't have the bronze statue.
Not yet.
Not yet. So it's.
That's going to be at the new town hall.
I was going to do it until I saw a number of people taking pictures of Chief doing it. So I went and got another hot dog instead. So that's all I have, and I'll turn it over to Steve.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. We'll go ahead and start with the July 2015 Administrative Report. Under pending items, there's been no change in the SHA project. The Sheets project, there's been no change in the building process, but I did copy you folks on the correspondence that I made to MDE in regards to the well abandonment at the site. Town Hall and Police Station, staff is working with the architect on some changes, as well as working on a financial plan. We should have that information back to you at next month's meeting. The floodplain resolution and ordinance is off the agenda for tonight. The county is not prepared yet, so we'll take that off. Also, I gave you folks tonight the proposed personnel policy changes. I'd like for you to look over them. If you have any questions, please let me know and I can work through them. So just let me know, what changes or questions you have. Under code enforcement and rental housing, you have in front of you the status report. Also, we had a rental housing meeting, very productive meeting, which was held on August the 6th. We'll be getting back to you over the next month on some different items that we spoke about. Under miscellaneous items, as Mayor Warner talked about, our second annual National Night Out was a huge success. The natural gas boiler project for here at Town Hall is complete. Our Public Information Request Act, Maryland has updated some items in the PIA. I sent our PIA down to the Attorney General's office for review and see if they have any questions on it. So we'll see what happens over the next month or so. One thing that's not on my list that you have is the comp plan update. It's that time again to update our comp plan. We did get a proposal back from DMAP, and you can see there that the proposal is not to go over $10,000. We've worked with DMAP on numerous other projects. Our comp plan does need a little bit of work to it, not as much as it did the last time we did it, but feel comfortable. I've worked with these folks in the past as well as Michelle, so we both feel very comfortable going with them. I just gave you that for your information purposes. Okay, moving right along, the July Public Works Report. You have in front of you the monthly water and wastewater status report for July. Our folks replaced the fire hydrant at the end of Grafton Street, and we did some rehab work at our Delwell or Bachman Road water pumping station. That is complete. Under wastewater, we are having some issues with the 12-inch effluent discharge pipe on one of the discharge pumps at the wastewater treatment plant. Since it's such a huge pipe and a huge undertaking, we're going to have to get a subcontractor in to do some work to help us out with that. So that's going to take place hopefully over the next, I'll give that over the next month. Under stormwater, I supplied you with some information in regards to a workshop which is going to be held on October the 6th at Carroll Community College. And the workshop is sponsored by Carroll County Environmental Advisory Council and the WRCC, which I'm participating in. So if you'd be interested, feel free to attend. Under maintenance, roads, and parks, our inclusive playground, the pad's complete, and the equipment will be delivered, I believe it's the week of August 24th. Also, I have to get in touch with Mrs. Miller from Haley's Wish, that's correct, and we're going to plan a work day. So hopefully that work day probably will happen sometime around mid-September. We want to get the police department involved, we want to get the fire department involved, and any other volunteers that would like to join us that day. The observatory project at the Nature Center is 95% complete. I joined the folks yesterday. There's a little article that's going to be published in the Advocate, and they're going to dedicate that sometime in September. It's being planned as we speak, and I'll notify everyone when that is complete, or when the dedication day is planned. Actually, that's pretty cool. That telescope is a lot bigger than what I thought, and I think that's going to be a huge asset to the Nature Center back there. Actually, the telescope's about 5.5 feet tall and about 16 inches in diameter, and it was donated, which I don't have the name of the donator, but they're going to be present the day of the dedication, so that's a plus for the Nature Center folks out there. I completed and submitted an application for replacement fencing and backstops at both C and D fields through community parks and playgrounds. And also, we had a safety training on July 21st on chainsaw safety with our DPW folks. That's it.
Steve, what's wrong with this 12-inch effluent discharge pipe?
We have two pumps located at the treatment plant that pumps the effluent, the treated wastewater out to our lagoon out at the wastewater spray irrigation facility. And one side of the pipe has settled, and there is a flexible band in between, which is about 10 inches wide, and that flexible band has come loose. So we have to get in there, we're gonna have to jack the pipe up, put some fill underneath of it, and replace the flexible pipe in between. So that's not a big job, but it's big enough. It's out of our hands. We've contacted a contractor to do it. We're not out of service.
I was just,
Everything- yeah, no,
everything's
no,
running smooth.
No, it's no no problems with the plant, yeah, so it's
Okay.
just that, and it's age, it's stress, so we have to replace it, so.
So just out of curiosity, the replacing the fencing and backstops at ball fields, approximate cost?
They did not ask for complete funding for all the outfield fencing this time. I just requested funding for the backstops and the dugout fencing, and I believe my request was $35,000. For the entire project, we were in the range of about 60 grand. I don't think they would really accept that.
And this is through community parks and
Community
playgrounds?
parks and playgrounds.
Yeah, especially at Seafield, the dugout fencing, the fencing going along the foul lines is it's in pretty rough shape. When we get people getting pinched or,
Yes,
and we tried to zip tie it back together.
correct.
It's-
Again, once we get closer and once I find that our application hopefully will be accepted, then I'll contact the baseball folks and finalize everything. The contractor that I talked to, Triple C Fence, we've made some changes up there where the backstop currently, both of them go up and they angle back in. And a lot of people are getting away from that. They're doing basically a straight up backstop, because what's happening, foul balls are hitting the fence, coming back down and hitting the umpired players, catcher, batter, whatever. So that seems to be working out pretty good. That's the trend that everybody's going to. At the dugout fencing, especially on Seafield, there's a section of fencing going down the first baseline that is low. And I heard a lot of complaints about foul balls coming back and hitting the people in the bleachers. So we actually raised that fence to, I believe, a 7-foot fence. And so those are some of the changes we made. But again, once we get closer, I'll bring the the baseball folks in and finalize everything.
Press box still in good shape?
Press boxes, yeah, I mean, I can, yeah. So
Yeah, you get a few animals that try to get in there over the winter. Harbors a lot of stink bugs. So it's got a couple of, it's been hit a couple times. I think there's a couple small cracks in the siding.
Just structurally, I wonder, we're putting a lot of people in and out of there.
Yeah, I think structurally it's been fine. Something the baseball guys brought up was the outfield fences. When I looked at them with the baseball people, weren't as rough as the dugout fences. So they inquired about maybe having them just painted black, because there's a lot of rust and things like on this. So, and I don't know who would do it, but if we could do it at baseball or whoever.
That was my request. It was black vinyl. And it
So-
seems like the black vinyl fence blends in.
So if we got a grant and got black there, maybe we just take the outfield and just paint it black. It'd be a lot cheaper than replacing it.
Sure.
People aren't really getting this close to it anyway.
Mayor Warner and I were together today on another project there, and we did take notice. I've been watching it, and our scoreboard is fading out. And we may want to look at doing something with it. I think it says "Welcome to Christmas Tree Park," and that's faded. I've been watching it the last several years. I don't know if we could go with some type of, like a wrap, that would replace that or not. I'm just throwing that out there.
Are all of these areas where we should be working with the rec council for contributions? Some kind of cost
Wouldn't-
sharing.
It's not gonna hurt to ask them, for sure.
You should be cost sharing with them.
Correct.
They
Yeah.
use the fields.
Correct, that is correct.
Yeah, I think, and I don't even know what that would cost. We were just looking at it, but you know the piece, it's been there for years where it has little pine cones and then pine cones as well. It's kind of faded to the point where it just looks like faded green, kind of faded out. The rest of the scoreboard is in pretty good
Yes,
shape and works
correct.
well. Anything else for the town administrator? No? Chief?
We handled 65 calls for service, 3 persons were criminally charged. Two were for assault, 1 was for traffic-related charges. We had 1 crime to report, that was a part 1, that was a theft, that was taken from the grounds that involved a cable that was actually used for the carnival. It was a high-powered cable. The firemen didn't get a chance to put it away, and apparently sometime during the night, somebody decided to lift it, probably because of the, I think Steve, you said it had a lot of copper inside.
Correct.
Which is a pretty high dollar, it's a lot of precious metal actually now. Outside of that, everything's been pretty good. We're still having traffic problems up around Mindy Drive, Charmel, York Street, the whole Manchester Farms area. There was a gentleman in here that was talking about High Crest. I think he actually wanted to up the speed limit. I mean, it's your call, but I would be against that. It's, I looked at the area, I don't even know how somebody would get up to 20 miles an hour coming out of High Crest onto Nevada. But I would be against that. 20's good. It's pretty consistent with the rest of the small streets in the town, and you know, we give a lot of latitude with the speed limit. So 20 I would recommend just remain. As far as the crime talk goes, we're still 50% down. At this time last year, we had 20 reported Part 1 crimes. We have 10 this year. We would have had 9 if the fire department didn't have that theft problem up there. Across the county, in the last 7 days, the county sustained 14 Part 1 crimes. The primary crime is theft and burglary. A lot of it is unlocked doors. I think they actually had 1 victim that was a victim 3 times. The hottest time during the day is 12 o'clock noon for time probability. Friday seems to be a key day, and so does Wednesday. A lot of the crime that's happening is around Eldersburg, Westminster, and they got a hot spot between Woodbine and Mount Airy. But on our side of the county, it's, knock on wood, has been pretty quiet. Hampstead's had a few problems, but I think they made some arrests, so I predicted that will dwindle down. The heroin overdose, Commissioner Wance, during the month of September, he's going to be hosting a roundtable, and just basically to talk about the crime efforts and different efforts that we can take and continue towards the approach of the reduction of heroin overdose and the illegal activity surrounding that. Year to date, they've had 119 overdoses, 37 of which were heroin, and there was 15 fatalities. Manchester and Sykesville are still holding at 0. The hardest hit is Westminster and right around Westminster. The hottest age is 25 to 34. And then there's been an increase with the age of 35 and 44 for overdose. And that's about it.
What was the total number of overdoses?
119, heroin-related 37,
So what?
prescription meds 38,
Okay. A lot of which are probably opiates as well.
yes. I mean, that's the path. A lot of times you'll see even a kid that's involved in sports, they get hurt, they get hooked on the pain medication, the prescription runs out, then they start looking at other avenues.
Any questions for the chief? Good report. Good report, holding strong.
Oh, Chief, do you know when is Steve Wentz holding that in September? What's the date again? Do you remember? I saw it and I don't remember.
Yeah, I can't recall, I have it marked down.
Okay,
I want to say the 16th.
that sounds right, but I couldn't remember. I'll look, thank you.
All right, Steve, do you want to provide some highlights on the proposed changes to personnel policy, and I know this is a policy, this, I think everybody got it.
Right, I emailed it out also, I gave you a hard copy. I just want you folks to take a look at it over the next month, and, you know, if you have any questions, please get back in touch with me, and, you know, we'll work through them and go from there.
And maybe what we can do on this one, I know there's a handful of things that were, you know, changes, is if we can get we're gonna try to get a work session on the calendar, and then just walk through one by one, let everybody weigh in, move on.
We could do
Kind of
that.
thing.
Sure.
All right. Questions, comments from the community? Do we have anybody signed up?
Mike Stewart and Diane Moss-Seabold.
You want to start?
Sure. Good evening. Want to bring the council's attention to the fact that I've been reviewing the code. Of course, I know that a code review is going on, but while the election was going on, multiple people expressed that they'd like to have backyard chickens in Manchester. Now, Carroll County allows it. If you have up to 1 acre, you're allowed 6 without a permit, and you can put the coop wherever you want as long as it's not adjoining right to your neighbor's property, and that's without permits. Of course, there's no roosters involved in this. You know, the benefits of norming in an agricultural county such as Carroll County to the county requirements are, you know, chickens are fun-friendly pets, teach kids where food comes from in an agricultural county. Egg prices have gone up actually, but it's not a sidelight, but it produces fertilizer, and chickens actually control flies and other pests, and you can feed them weeds, kitchen scraps, and other things that you'd otherwise probably put into the waste stream. Just as an aside, of course, if you had a HOA, homeowner association, it wouldn't allow it, it wouldn't change anything, that would be already running with the land. But, you know, Baltimore City lets you have chickens. You only have to have 2,000 square feet, and you can have 4 of them. And every 1,000 square feet, you get to have more up to 10. So that's Baltimore City. We're an agricultural county. The county already allows it. Heard it from numerous people out there. Now, I'm not going to shine you on. There are problems that come with chickens. Noise, but that's why you have no rooster policy. Hens do, if you know anything about hens, they cluck during the day softly and chirp. Also, by not having roosters, you don't have fertilized eggs, so you don't have chickens that you have to dispose of. Although it's not like disposing of a dog or a cat you don't want. Chickens you need to dispose of are called dinner, so in an agricultural county. You know, you have to make sure you coop. We do have foxes and feral cats and all that. You got to make sure predators aren't around. But you know, people should keep their coops well. So that's really the only downsides. But you do get pretty good fertilizer. You take pine chips, you lay it down, and usually people who do this kind of thing also like to garden. So it kind of like goes hand in hand. So with that, I would just like, since the county already allows it, it's a growing trend across the United States. Howard County just passed their chicken ordinance, which allowed. So I think we ought to norm our zoning regulations to what the county does. And I know she's going to speak on the same subject.
Just for the future reference, I know you know, but just
Yeah.
state your address and all when you come up next time, okay?
I will
You're
do
good.
so next
Yep.
time. I wrote it down.
Okay.
What's our current ordinance say? Is it like your coop has to be 100 feet from your property line? I think something like that.
I know it can't meet the property line, but I don't know the exact footage.
I think there's a distance.
The zoning folks down at the county, there's no set amount. They just would like you to place it as far as practical away from any other property line as you can. If there's a complaint there, that's the suggestion they make on moving the coop.
Hi, my name's Diana.
Okay.
I also wanted to speak about the chickens.
Okay.
Basically just everything he just said. I've lived in Carroll County my whole life. You know, I never grew up with chickens. My husband did. We moved to a town, this one, that the neighborhood that I'm in is not HOA, but apparently town laws say we can't have the chickens. I have 2 kids. I want to teach them responsibility. We take them to the 4-H fair, you know, all these things, and it's just something that I've been actually emailing the town office for several years about, and
What's your
always-
address too, please?
3320 Augusta Road. It's Whispering Valley.
Okay.
Yes.
So do we have anything that prohibits chickens?
believe we do.
In certain conditions, it has to be so many
You need
feet
a
from the line.
huge
I think it's
area.
100, it might be 100 feet. If you meet other
You said the
criteria.
county requires an acre?
I believe
For
so.
up to 6.
Up to 6, he said.
Under that, it's.
Up to an acre, you can have, if you have an acre or under, you can have 6.
If you have, right,
Oh,
if
an
you have
acre
more
or
than an acre,
under.
right, if you have
Okay, I
more than that,
understand.
you have to have more property.
And I think it was, what, less than 5? You don't even need a permit, I think.
It's,
Something.
well, you can have up to 6. If you have 5 or more chickens, you have to register with the Department of Agriculture your flock. It's just so they know for purposes of avian flu tracking and things like that, if you have a large concentration of chickens in a tropical spot.
I think
Okay.
our code book says that you have to be 200 feet away from your neighbors.
Oh, 200.
Correct.
Yeah, in our-
It's a huge amount.
In our cluster subdivision, so never, you would make it.
So here's Carroll counties. 1 acre, 6 chickens, 2 acres, 12, 3 acres, 18, 3 acres, no max. Roosters not allowed. 1 acre permit required, 75 foot from property line. 1 acre a coop the size of a, I can't read
Yeah, I checked
it,
this
it's
morning.
size of
I checked
whatever.
the zoning, I checked the zoning board, they don't require, the coop, there's no set size coop requirement, but you do need a permit if you go over 1 acre. I think the guideline is it's bigger than a small dog house, and someone complains, they'll come out and look at it.
Yeah,
That's
it
what I
says
was-
something about removable. Is that the way you read it, Mike?
That's the way I read
The
it.
coop's gotta be removable or
It can't be,
something like that.
the coop has to be moved.
Right,
Can't be.
And no permanent structures.
right.
Were they allowed at some point and then, I don't remember a discussion about this ever coming up.
Well, they had to be allowed sometime, because my grandmother had them back in the 60s.
Yeah.
I took care of them, and I know all about chickens. So, but yes, they were allowed, I mean, back in the 60s before, I mean, there were hog pens
Right.
in backs of the home.
Yeah.
And, you know, so,
Well, this at least,
That'll be next.
whatever the prohibition is older than 16 or 17 years.
yes.
I don't remember that we've ever had a discussion about
No.
it.
Yeah.
But I know that it is becoming a growing trend of people getting their own eggs and things.
Right, free range and all that stuff.
So this is it, Mike, this is actually interesting. If it's a greater than 1 acre, it's gotta be 75 foot from the property line.
That's true.
If it's less than 1 acre, a coop the size of a large dog house
Right.
is allowed, no permit, no placement restrictions.
But the
That's for the
guideline is
county.
they don't want you to put it right on the property line.
Right.
Baltimore Cities, it's only 15 feet from the existing dwelling.
And then they have 40-foot wide lots though too, so. All right, so, I mean, this is one of those things I think that comes up, that things change over time, so why don't we, do some research and see what the trends are and how that would fit into our neighborhood and put the word out there and gather input from some different
Other
people in the community.
municipalities,
Yeah,
so
other
we do,
municipalities
right.
and, so rather than kind of knee jerk it and say,
Yes or no?
yes or no, and we're gonna copy this one. Let's do a little bit of research and see if we can come up with a good answer.
So I support more research. Do chickens tend to stay local? Do they wander? Is that going to be a problem for neighbors if they're always wandering in their backyard and falling in the pool? Or do they kind of stay to themselves in their little area? I don't know.
So they depend. I know the ones on Miller Station wander.
Yeah. I've seen a few of them wander too far.
Yeah.
They didn't make it back.
So within the county, are they supposed to be fenced? Like, is a coop just like a house, or is that like, does that include like a
Nothing
full?
in the coop restriction, there's nothing about fencing.
Yeah. As long as they have a little house, it's free range.
And there can't, because like Miller Station, I almost ran over them a couple times.
That's what I just said.
Well, yeah, it gets interesting.
I'm not gonna
I mean,
admit
you
to
got,
it.
yeah.
If you know what you're doing, you put chicken
I
wire.
was gonna say, I think that usually all those guys leave is like little chicken coop, and then there's like a fence.
Like a little
area
fenced-in
around
area.
it.
Right.
And that's not only to keep the chickens in, but that's to keep feral cats and foxes from killing the chickens.
Yeah. All right, so I think probably everybody here agrees. Let's gather some information and see what's out there, what's working other places, what frustration points are there, the places that have implemented it, and see what makes sense to do here. Anything else? Anybody else? Committee reports?
My next meeting is September.
I have two
Still
things to
taking
share.
notes. Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking notes though. The first, in regards to a youth representative, I've been working with the town administrator and brainstorming some ideas, and I have a recommendation I would like to make. I would like to recommend Andrew Epley. He is a junior at Manchester Valley High School this year. He is the goalie for the JV lacrosse team. He's been a resident of Manchester his entire life. He's a member at the fire department. Was a junior member when he turned 16, became a regular member. Is starting firefighter 1 this year, or very soon, and is going to be taking honors classes this year. All around good kid, hardworking, comes from a great family, and I think he'd be a great asset.
Yeah, I know Andrew. And maybe something we can do with this program too is document a little more around what the responsibilities are, what the terms are. Because I think if we could start getting juniors every year,
Yeah.
and do a 1-year tour of duty,
Yes.
and let them handle. Because I know even like with Natalie, they start having more stuff to do
And we
their
took,
senior year.
yes, we took your advice, Mayor, and Councilperson Warner and I spoke about that. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Because once they become a senior, things get real busy, real
Right.
fast, so.
And that way, if this becomes something, I know a number of years we couldn't find anybody to do it, but if we
Right.
can start increasing, if we create it's a positive experience, a resume builder for
Right.
them, it gives them some access, but then we're also getting some interface time with them. So,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know, we have an official way we want to appoint them and bring them in and have them meet the group?
I mean, I can contact him and
It's
ask
not-
him to come in,
Yeah.
meet with us at a meeting or at a work
Maybe
session or
Come
something.
a little early before the meeting or something.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel comfortable with Andrew, I've known him
Okay.
for a number of years.
The other thing I'd like to bring up and have us kind of think about is the possibility of, we have some great events going on for the town for free right now. National Night Out, we have Springfest at Charlotte's Quest. Something we kind of talked about off and on, town administrator and I have, is the possibility of doing an outdoor movie, a family movie, another free event for the town, maybe fall before it gets too cold, but after the time changes, so we wouldn't have to start as late, and invite all the members of the town to be able to come out and watch a family-friendly movie, PG rated or something, potentially at the activities building in the lot there or something, and open it up as a way to get more people out and just be able to meet your neighbors kind of thing at a different time in the year.
So we had, and then maybe we'll touch base outside of here. I know that some of the younger parents in the football program had talked about doing the same thing.
Okay?
And there's families around that, I don't have one, but have they've constructed like these large outdoor things, and maybe even doing it like down on D field and getting in the equipment to do it there. Yeah, and have it like, outside, bring a blanket kind of thing. So there's a number of people that you could tap into that may be volunteers to help put
Okay.
something like that together.
I know we'd have to go through permit-wise and get a permit to be able to show the movie, and there's different companies. We've done one at my school for many years, so I can get the information from them. But just a way to get more people out and see what we can do.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds great.
I have nothing to report in regard to Mama, with the exception the next meeting is August 20th at Spargo's, and the Sustainability Task Force will be reconvening this fall.
Yeah, good.
I've been on vacation, so I have nothing to report until September.
You got a sunburn.
September.
You got a sunburn, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Councilman Wilder?
Okay, the July meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission was canceled because there were no agenda items for them to discuss. I don't know if Steve brought anything up last meeting. During the June meeting, Mr. Martin Hill and a couple of representatives from Woodhaven came to present their ideas to convert the older home, the old Lot 46, that's smack dab in the middle of Halley Hills. You may recall there's an older home right in the middle. That's currently taking up one lot. What they'd like to do is now tear that home down. It was a rental property for some time. Tear that home down and convert it into 3 different lots. So they came just to present their ideas. They feel the water and sewer is adequate, and they believe that the lot sizes would be consistent with the other lot sizes. So the commission asked them to go off and verify that and come back and just make sure that the homes they plan to put there and the lots are consistent with the remainder of the neighborhood. So there'll be more to follow on that. The other item is the commission did review site plans for the town hall, police station. I had a couple questions which Michelle answered. So contingent on the final stormwater management approval, because there are some issues with the stormwater management, the commission approved it to come forward to the council. So we'll be hearing more on that soon.
With respect to that lot 46, does it fall under, and I don't remember this answer, if there's a period of time or if it's a reasonableness test. So when they did that initial development, was that lot counted or was it carved out at all? So can they kind of come back with each lot and say, well, this one's 3 and this one's 3 and this one's 3, so that they're all minor subdivisions?
I believe it was counted as part of that.
So does this put them over what the
It is
initial
3, I think.
yacht, or are we counting as 3 at that time? Okay.
Because we asked that question, and it does fit.
All right. So you're waiting on them to come back with a proposal?
Just to verify, maybe there's some designs that it is consistent with other lot sizes. No concern that they would make the houses consistent, but we want to make sure the lots are.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good night. I'm gonna take a picture.
Dale, how old is that house on lot 46?
Yeah, that's a good